Okay. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Norwalk Public Library Board of Directors for February. This is February 10th. And we're beginning the meeting at 7:21 due to some technical problems with the Zoom. Present are Patsy Brescia, Sharon Benante, Mary Mann, Ralph Bloom, Janie Williams, Moyna Noor, and Alex Knopp. So welcome, everybody. Hope you are healthy and safe. Of course, Sherelle Harris, I don't need for a quorum, but she, of course, is present also. First item of business is to see whether or not there are any additional items of business to be added. Not, then we'll go to the approval of the minutes of January 13th, 2022. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Yeah, I just have one change in there.
Jenny, let's move first and then we'll make revisions.
Sure. Okay.
So
moved.
all right, Mary moves to approve. Are there any revisions? Janie?
Yes, on the section D, discussion on a mask. You need to add in there because I stated that giving people N95 mask when they already have a mask will not guarantee that they will wear the N95 mask, but that was not included in the minutes, and I would like that put in the minutes, please.
Okay, does the minute taker from Telesco have that addition?
I do.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
All right, any further
Thank
additions?
Yes.
Sharon. I'm sorry, Sharon. I saw Mary. I saw Sharon's hand. I'm sorry. Sharon?
Okay, yes, just, there was a lot of notes here, but just page 3, section 4. I had asked about lighting for the art gallery. And in case we go back to look at these notes, I think that's important to add. And Silver and Petroselli said that they would incorporate the lighting that hits the art. That was what I had heard. And also somebody else had asked about.
I'm sorry, Sharon, could you restate that so our minute taker can
Sure.
know what to add and where?
Yep. Page 3, section 4, you could put it anywhere towards the end. I had asked about lighting for the art gallery walls, and Silver and Petroselli answered that they would incorporate the lighting so that it hits the art. And also somebody else had asked about showing or asking for different colors, I think, of the wood furniture. Does anyone remember saying that? In case they go back to look at it.
That was Patsy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it didn't match the redoing of the original wood in the building.
Right, you wanted it lighter, correct? Or-
No, I wanted it to be more coordinated with what they planned for the columns that are on the in the existing area, rather to contradict a color to be compatible with it. That was my focus.
Okay, that's all I had.
Okay. Mary?
Yes, I'm not listed as being in attendance, even though I made a number of motions.
You're correct. So Mary Mann gets added to the list of attendees. All right. Any further revisions? All right. If not, then we'll accept all those additions as friendly amendments. Mary, is that all right with you as the maker of the motion? All right, then all in favor of approving the minutes as corrected, please say aye or raise your hand. Aye.
Aye.
Any objection? Any abstention? Then the minutes as revised are approved unanimously. Okay. Next, are there any members of the public attending who would like to speak? Okay, seeing none, then we'll go to the president's report. As we indicated last session, I invited Mayor Rilling to send a representative of the city to discuss the areas of jurisdiction, given our hybrid governance structure. And today I received a reply from the mayor, which I will read to you. Good afternoon, Alex. Sorry for taking so long, but we are not able to attend tonight because we have the Council Finance Committee dealing with the operating budget. I'll arrange to have someone there next month, or if you want, perhaps we can have a special meeting for that single purpose. So that's the message from Mayor Rilling. So in light of that, I don't think it's be very useful to go on with this discussion as listed in the agenda, since it was intended to be a discussion with somebody from the city.
Yeah, I'm confused here because I made the motion to
Yes.
ask, yeah, and I thought it was in the foundation meeting. And I looked for it in these minutes and I didn't see that motion in these minutes.
Yes, it's in there.
Well, I'm having major trouble printing everything out, so,
Okay.
and
I'll read you this section, okay, Patsy?
yes, please.
So it's under section E of on page 5. And there's some preliminary discussion. It says Chairman Knopf felt the library board should have been involved in drafting the job description of branch manager. The new position eliminated the assistant director position. Chairman Knopf stressed that the board should not be making hiring decisions, but should be consulted on what positions are created or eliminated to ensure the library branches continue to function well. Ms. Brescia moved to ask the city to educate the board as to their specific role. Chairman Knopf seconded the motion. The motion passed unanimously.
Okay.
Then I did invite the mayor. I explained to him the background, and then I got this message from him this afternoon.
It's just, I am still confused. I'm sorry I missed that in the minutes, but my motion was not specifically directed to the issue of our involvement with hiring any personnel. It was a general educational concern, which I'd raised 5 or 6 years ago for the same purpose. And we have a lot of new members on the board, and I felt that it was strongly that everybody needs to have a clear understanding of the role that we have, which is, it's an unusual role. So it wasn't directed and caused for that reason, Alex. That was your focus. It was not my focus. I just want to make that clear.
Yes, I invited the mayor to discuss generally the relationship of the board and the city. I explained to him how it came up, but I did not ask him to come and discuss personnel matters per se.
Well, I thought you just read that it was focused on your concern.
That's what the minutes, that's when it came up during the discussion at the meeting.
Yeah, but you didn't change the minutes, so that's what stands as record.
Well, I invited the mayor generally to come talk about,
Yeah,
to send somebody.
Right, we asked that you know, there was a formal motion of the board for you to carry that out.
And I did that.
Yes. But the implication is that we asked for that because we were concerned about our role in this specific issue. And that was not my intention with my motion. My motion
understand.
was for general instruction to our board so that we clearly understand what our role is. And I hope
Understood.
that's what we will hear next month.
Well, we're certainly going to hear about it as a discussion. I don't know whether, you know, I mean, I'm not sure who, unless we invite a judge, who's going to decide, because there'll be some areas where we may have a disagreement.
No, and we'll deal with it.
Right, yeah.
I just have a question. I don't understand why this is a issue because, right, if you have the bylaws and I looked at them, it clearly has what we're supposed to do. And it also has, you keep saying, I know, Alex, you keep saying about this code, some code you're talking about, but that is also in the bylaws. I read it the other day. It's in there and it clearly states that we are responsible only for policy, procedures in the building and the land around the building. And that is it. So I'm kind of confused on why we're going through this because we do not have the authority to have anything to do with the staff structure or anything like that. We do not, according to the bylaws. That's all I want to say. And I want that on record. Make sure that goes in the record, please.
Okay, let's move on to
Oh,
the
wait,
update.
I have something on that matter too. I think as part of our discussion last time, there was also, you were going to send around some part of the code that talks about a little bit about our role. And as to bylaws, like I don't have a copy of the bylaws. So for those of us who are newer to the board,
But that code is in the bylaws. That's what the code you're referring to is stated in the bylaws.
so
I'll
anyway,
send you a
Send it
copy.
around.
I will send you a copy of it. I'll send everybody a copy of which I think I did already, but I will do it again. But it's stated right there in the bylaws. The code that Alex is talking about is in, and it has nothing, we do not have the authority or responsibility for staff or staff structure. We only have the ability to manage the buildings and grounds and policy and procedures. That is it. And it's stated in there. And I will highlight it so you will see that. So I don't understand why we're going through this. I don't understand that. I'm kind of confused why we're going through all that when it's not even
Well,
necessary.
Well, I asked for it because I knew there were new people on the board and I felt that they were not apprised of this. And
No, but
obviously,
but for my thing, Alice keeps bringing that up and I don't
Oh.
understand why he keeps bringing it up when it's not true. So I don't know. So that's my thing.
Well, we have a difference of opinion, Janie, and for you to say it's not true is inaccurate. If you look at the city code. We're-
Alex, I just said the city
No,
code, the city code you're saying is
Okay,
there.
I-
That's what I'm saying. And it's in
Katie,
the
I've-
bylaws. So
okay, I've
that's
listened
why I
to
don't
you.
understand why you're saying that.
Well, if you let me speak, you might understand what I'm saying. The code says that the board is responsible for the governance of the library. And part of the governance is dealing with issues about staff structure. It's not a matter of, well, you and I disagree, all right? So if the city could say, we're going to abolish all the library. Well, not just hear me out.
Yeah. But I think. well,
Just hear me out.
Just in this,
Well, just hear me
what
out.
we need to do is just hear what they have to say, but I think you're wrong.
Okay,
because
I
it
think
does
you're
say
wrong.
that in there, so I do think
Okay.
you're wrong.
Okay, I think you're wrong.
So, yeah,
All right,
so
I think we're responsible for the
we'll-
governance of the
we'll
library.
agree to disagree, but you're wrong.
Yes, we do disagree, but I don't say you're wrong,
But yeah,
but we disagree. And the governance of the library means something, and it means how you organize the library to provide services, in my book. So I think that is part of our function, and we deserve to be consulted about it.
well, this conversation certainly points out the need for us to be educated to the whole process. So that's great. We're going to do it next month.
and it would be great if someone could circulate that
Yep.
city code.
Or
I will
circulate
definitely
both.
circulate it to you, so you will have it.
And I'll circulate the city code to you so you can see that.
It's
Thank you.
already in there. That's what I'm saying to you, Alex. You didn't hear.
I'll
me.
circulate the city code and you can circulate what you like. Okay? Okay, updated capital budget request. Sherelle, do you want to describe what the Board of Estimate recommended?
So we proposed 4 areas and they recommended 2 of them. They recommended the update for technology and the finalization of the digitization program. They did not update or approve, I'm sorry, the Sono renovation, and they did not approve the van. However, in their book, they did not have that, you know, we've brought the cost for the Sono renovation down significantly due to SNU. Thank you, Mary and David and the SNU commissioners, and Lamont has agreed to pay for the furniture out of ARPA funds. So the reduction is roughly 150,000. So that should be updated. As I understand it, it has been updated in their book.
I have a question, Alex. At this stage, what do we need to do? It was not supported initially. Is it going to go back on the table? Are we guaranteed that they're going to put it back up there for review, or, you know, what should we do about this? And I'm talking about Sono renovations.
Right. Well, I think the next opportunity, Mary, will be the mayor makes his recommendations next to the Common Council. And the planning committee of the Common Council holds a hearing on the capital budget, including what the finance director recommended, what the mayor recommended, what the Board of Estimate recommended, and they can add items back in or take items out. Last year, we were able to get the Common Council to add back in the penultimate year of the digitization. So what we'll need to do is to make a good showing at the Common Council for their hearing about why these funds should be added back in. And the date, I don't have that with me. Do you have the date, Sherelle?
I don't have it in front of me, but I can circulate it. I did circulate it a couple of months ago.
Right.
But I'll send it around, just so we're not wasting time. I'll send it.
Right.
Just another quick question. You're saying the mayor makes the recommendation to the Common Council and that we should be present for the Common Council meeting. Is there any way, or I'm suggesting that maybe, you know, should we try to contact the mayor?
Sure.
To say why, you know, these funds were not, why it was removed, and or the need for the library to be renovated.
Sure.
I'd like to speak on this issue.
Sure. Patsy?
Yeah, I attended these meetings via Zoom, and I know several other people did because Janie spoke at one of the hearings. But I thought, and Sherelle presented our position, I thought, very clearly. But I also felt that the people on the board didn't absorb it, and I have talked to a couple of people since then. And specifically on the van, that Sherelle had made it very clear that she had gone through the pool process. And when I questioned why we weren't getting what we were asking for, the answer was, well, you know, you need to go through the pool process. And I said, that's exactly what she said in the hearing and what she did and what we endorsed as a board. So I have the version 7 in front of me. I don't have the 8, which came out afterwards. So we need to get that and see where we really stand. And my feeling was that they didn't comprehend that the money for the renovations of the South Norwich branch were really, a lot of it was focused, the money that's left in our request was focused on IT upgrades so that and stations for people to use it because of a lot of the COVID activity that we're experiencing. So I think we need to get back into this and find a way to reposition our request to everybody that is going to be making a final decision. I
And
know
I
the
also-
last one, you were not able to be there at the last meeting, I think, but we need to go back to this and push to get this done.
Yeah, I spoke at the meeting with the
The
Planning
first one.
and Zoning Commission
Yeah,
in support of the Sono project. I thought very strongly.
well, at the next one, you were not able to be there for some reason. I forgot what it was.
But it was the same
but-
board.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. So I think we need to articulate what the difference is now that we've gotten a gift from South Norwalk District, and that we're getting the furniture out of another fund that we
ARPA.
only, that we only need, and what's the exact figure that we need?
I think it's roughly 200, I don't have it in front of me, but it's roughly 208,000.
Yeah.
So it's no longer.
They
the-
didn't absorb that.
I think Steve Ferguson did, because he
Yeah.
stated that he really appreciated the level of detail.
Yeah,
But the update that I sent to the board, I also sent to them, and to see what we still, so they could see clearly what we still have, what's being funded by SNU, what's being funded by ARPA, and then what our request is,
okay.
which is significantly lower than the
Yeah. And
350,000.
the need is for IT use and real computer use for the library. It's not cosmetic, you know,
Mhm, mhm.
it's functional. Program.
And really to
function.
maximize space, a lot of the focus in the library, a lot of times is on children, but we really need to consider the senior citizens as well. So when they come in, they have, decent furniture, to sit on, to enjoy their library as well. So no, definitely it is not just cosmetic.
Yeah, well, I think they perceived it as cosmetic, and it's not, it's functional.
Correct.
So do you want to ask,
Program oriented.
so we want to ask Sherelle to draft us a letter to the mayor that we could all consider and
I did draft a letter, and it was sent to the board maybe a couple of weeks ago with the update. So the background, the history, all of that is in there, but I'm happy to do it again.
why don't you do it as a letter to the mayor?
With the new figures. Sherelle,
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem.
because the last one had the original request, right?
No,
No?
it had that, no.
Okay. They
But that's okay.
adjusted?
I'll resend it.
Okay.
That's okay, don't worry.
Okay. And while we're on it, we didn't put it in the agenda, but when we also do an update on the operating budget, which came out day before yesterday, based on this would be the recommendation of the finance director. Sherelle?
So, nope, yeah. So I think we fared very, very well. Where they cut significantly was our IT requests. I combed through the budget, Dawn and I, today and yesterday, line by line, And I was thinking we may want to go back to them to ask them for, if not the full 10,000, at least 5,000.
Sherelle, what's the line item where that appears?
Let's see. That would be. Let's see, it looks like 5255. So rather than granting us the 10,000, they gave us a $1,500 upgrade.
Okay. It seemed to me we could make a pretty good case that this is a COVID-related need because it encourages people to use the library's online services and to use the hotspots to get online, which during COVID is a strong necessity.
Mhm.
I appreciate that Lamont gave us money for furniture, but there is money in there for IT as well. And I think this would certainly be eligible. So maybe we can try to make the case for that.
So what we need though, this is an ongoing, so some of the items that we want to pay for from this particular budget, we would need to be able to sustain going forward. So hopefully, I mean, I don't think this can totally come out of the ARPA funds. I did have a conversation today with IT and they're thinking, the city's IT, excuse me, and they're thinking if we're not given more, if they don't increase it, that they might pay for the first year. But again, even if they pay for the first year, we still have to sustain the annual cost in subsequent years.
Yeah. Well, it's like the ARPA furniture. We don't stop using the furniture when COVID declines radically. It's going to be there for 5 to 10 years.
It is, but we pay for it all at once. There's not going to be
Right.
subsequent costs associated.
Right. Okay. So we'll keep you updated, but we're going to try to get the money restored.
Thank you.
Okay, next, the code of conduct. This comes up because we've had apparently a gentleman coming into the Belden Avenue facility several times with either a video camera or a phone, I guess, taking videos of what's going on in there and not wearing a mask, which is a violation of our policy. And the police were called. He violated this code of conduct several times. I'm not sure, somewhere between 2 and 4 times. And our code of conduct calls for a person's privilege to use the library to be suspended when that happens. So do you want to comment at all on how this is working out, Cheryl?
So, yeah, I can do that. So just so everyone knows, I was aware, and I, as the library director, was working on this. It was brought to my attention. So what we need is, if the guards were writing this up, so we have the proof of this having happened, then we definitely can suspend the person. Initially, we give them a verbal warning, written suspension, and then if it's a third time, then I think it's 6 months or so, but they have to speak to the library director before they can come back into the library. So just so everyone knows, it was brought to my attention and basically being handled. So I'm not quite sure why it's coming to the board.
Well, I think it's coming to the board just because we are responsible for adopting the code of conduct and want to keep up on how it's being enforced.
Correct. So we do have, we have a guard who is really, I mean, he's pretty good, the new one that we have at the main library. So, you know, he also handles the situation as well. And so I told him if he comes in again, then we should give him the verbal warning. Also, I circulated to staff that there is the precedent where people are going to different libraries challenging the First Amendment. And I also shared with them the advice that was given from the city city corporation council, which was to let them film as long as they're not disturbing anybody. So I guess the clarification would come from being disturbed. If people do not want, we can tell people that, you know, they can move. If the person follows them, then to me, then that's harassment.
I'm sorry, can I just, are they filming kids? Or they're filming
No,
women?
no, he was basically, I guess, coming to check out, and he had his camera on, and it was at the circulation desk. So the issue then becomes First Amendment. So, and I don't know, do you guys have they've done this in Danbury, And so then it becomes a situation of law versus policy. So I can circulate, I think it was Danbury in Massachusetts. I have the links to where it was being filmed, where there was sort of a standoff with what the police knew and what the gentleman knew as law.
Does this person have a library card?
They do. So he's coming, he checks out. So the other issue, which is separate, is that, from my understanding, allegedly, he was telling people that they don't have to wear their mask. So that's clearly an issue, that the guard should handle. He should not be telling people that they don't have to follow policy. But I also think sometimes it's the manner in which we handle things to deflect, further or subsequent issues.
Agreed.
So I asked staff to make sure that they're allowing the guard to handle, and that's why we pay the guard. So the guard should really be handling the issues.
Not the other staff.
They should be handling it, and they should also be writing reports. And which this particular one is.
Okay, so I guess maybe I'm a little, so this gentleman was in the library at the desk, checking out with a camera on.
With his
having
phone.
spoken to, with his phone, having spoken to a couple of people saying they shouldn't be able to wear their masks.
I
The
think
police was
afterward.
called. Okay.
Yeah, I
But
think he did it like, sometimes like, somebody
Well, I
upset
know
you.
how they do it.
Yep, you get
yeah,
upset and now you're
Yeah,
instead
you're
of,
all over the place.
So he's
But
all
the
over the
police
place.
were called. The police were
Yes.
called. Was the person escorted out of the building?
There's different versions
Okay.
of what happened, but initially he did leave.
Okay.
Do we still have a sign on the door, mask required?
We do.
Hmm.
And they're told that by the guard. The guard is stationed close to the door. So they know when they come in that they are required to wear masks. And so what can happen is, somebody can put the mask on when they're with the guard, but then they can
Right.
go somewhere and take it off.
Right.
I mean, that's human nature, so.
Yeah.
But,
So-
we do have, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm assuming that you, as a director, feel as though this situation was adequately handled, versus I'm going back to Alex's initial thought of what do you think we should do about the code of conduct if the director feels as though this has been handled. I mean, I'm sort of kind of not understanding here.
So, the staff did bring it to my attention. They're very communicative. They did bring it to my attention.
Oh, we
I
know how
sent
much
them-
they gossip. Okay.
They sent, anyway, so I sent them the information,
Okay.
what we had. So a while ago, there was a conversation when all of this started happening across the country, particularly the Northeast with Danbury and others. People are just testing the First Amendment Constitution. And so, so I sent them that information and, people are upset and I get it. Some people have had issues losing family members, due to COVID, others may have they may be immunocompromised. So, but I think that when we get upset, or when things are happening, I think we should allow the guard to handle it.
Yes, absolutely.
I've been in the library 3 times this week and that guard is very good.
Oh, he's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
I mean, he's nice, he's pleasant, he's a people person, but he knows how to kick what when he needs to.
Yeah. And he insists that you sign in and sign out. And, I thought he did a very good job.
He's good. He's very good.
I'm just unclear. Did this person come in multiple times or just once and this happened?
He's a patron.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's not like they're every day, but he's a patron.
Oh, okay. He's a frequent user of the library. Okay.
But it sounds like this was an isolated incident.
I think
That
that people just get tired of, if, just for instance, if, you're immunocompromised or you just have a strong stance on masks, which is good because that's our
I
policy,
understand, I'm one of them.
right? You know, so,
Emotions are running high and, okay, understood.
but the staff just do have a point. So again, it's again, how interpretation, just as you all were saying earlier about interpretation of what's written. So with harassment, just say if they don't want to be filmed, they say, hey, you can move. However, here's the deal. They can say this back. If we move, you're hindering us from serving the public. So there's ways that you can counter. Do
Absolutely.
you understand what I'm saying? It's just using, there's ways you can counter, and I've equipped them with those things.
Good. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're
Okay.
very welcome.
Thank you. I take it that there's been no change in the city policy yet regarding masking and,
Not
Other
that I've
code-
heard of, no.
okay. All right, and finally, I was a little uncertain about this pending what happens with the capital budget, but I think at some point we'll need to, especially if the full plan gets approved, we'll need to have a review with the city about procedure to make sure that we're dotting all our i's and crossing all our t's. For example, the contract for the architect for the first phase falls below the dollar limit that requires a certain type of bidding. But the second year would add, we assume, to the architect's fee that would bring it over that amount. So that's the kind of thing I just want to make sure we're,
Lawrence?
following procedure carefully to make sure there's no hindrance down the road. But that, so I've mentioned this to Sherelle. I've contacted Alan Lowe, and we'll have to see how things go about, but this is the kind of review that makes sure we're all on the same page.
I agree.
Good. Okay, thank you. That concludes my report. Sherelle?
Okay, and so I'm sorry that I didn't circulate. I normally do the director's report, but for some reason the scanner
We missed our
wasn't-
100-page volume.
Yeah. This one actually was a very short one, and I
Okay.
just.
I didn't print it out this month.
Well, we don't have one this month, right?
Oh, that's why I
You
didn't print it
you
out.
basically
Okay.
have, and I'll try to send it. I don't know, maybe I just need to turn the computer off, but I had like too many things I was working on, but I'll
We had
try
to give,
again.
we had to give Patsy's printer a rest.
I know, right? So I sent the agenda in the minutes, so, but the report, and it was a very short report, but the Gill and Gill architects information was in there. So we had agreed that we would begin work on the literacy volunteers area, because that's not going to be part of the renovation of the larger renovation of the main library. So working with Neil Rennie at Guardian, we met with Gill and Gill Architects, and they gave us the cost and the scope of the initial work that they would do. So the initial fee would be $4,820, with the caveat that extra services, if extra services are requested, it would be billed $90 per hour. Reimbursable expenses will be billed at cost plus 10% as customary. So basically, what we want to do, the room is it's a very odd shape. So we want to restructure it so that the office space is a little smaller and we can gain another classroom. Right now, there's 2 classrooms in there. And so the things that they, would look at is, and there was some leakage, like moisture that's getting in that area. So they would look at that. They would look at, the construction of the room to see if they can possibly knock down walls to create another classroom. and they would give us the drawing and the specifications for the design. And so.
So do you
there's
need
just-
to move to approve this, this letter? Sherelle?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, if you wouldn't mind. I thought
Okay,
you were speaking to the board.
no, okay, well, I just want to ask you, so,
Yeah, so
Uh,
it's a contract that I would need to sign with them.
and
So
where
I
would the
guess it would
funds,
be-
where would the funds for this come from?
It's already approved in the capital budget,
From last year?
probably 2 years ago,
Okay,
just before COVID. So I think it was 90,000 that was approved. So this will be a first phase so we can see exactly what we can do with the room.
okay. Well, I would move approval. Is there discussion? What would the timing be, Sherelle?
I think, you know what, I have to go back, but I think when we were speaking to them, they said they came in and really reviewed the room, looked at everything, knocked on walls. For some reason, in my mind, I'm thinking a month. But I can get back to you on this.
No, I'm just curious.
Yeah, I
And could
think
I ask,
they said a month.
what's been the situation with literacy volunteers during the COVID sort of shutdown?
Online, all classes
Okay.
are online.
Okay.
So we had to really pivot and we had to go through this strenuous process to be able to be, an organization that can do this online, as
Right.
did I think most others. And so, online, there's obviously some people who want to wait, they just don't want to do everything online. They want to wait until we're open again before coming back, but the majority did remain and pivot to going online.
Okay, that's good. All right, are there any questions about this item?
I just had a quick question.
Sharon?
I'm just curious why there's a 2-year gap between the capital budget and
I don't understand your question.
I'm just wondering, you said there was it was in the capital budget from 2 years ago, and I was just wondering why was there a reason for the delay?
Well, part of it is COVID.
Mhm.
And then the other part is just getting, all the people in place to figure out when we were going to meet and that sort of thing. And,
Okay.
and,
No, I
and
was
to
just-
lay out the specs and yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, we definitely want to move on this.
And we had the transition of executive director that takes some time also. Okay, any further questions? All right, if not, then all in favor of the motion to approve this letter contract, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstention? Then the agreement is endorsed unanimously. And Sherelle, maybe you could find out whether I need to sign this or you need to sign it or both.
I think it's Neil and I, but I can find
Okay.
out.
Just
No,
so
I'll
I,
find out. But
just so I
that was
can
my
plan
understanding.
on when to come in if I need to.
Okay, perfect. No, perfect.
Okay,
Okay, so next up is the multi-purpose room refresh. And so we anticipate both libraries being completed by June. The supplies are expected because I guess everybody's having a delay
Yeah.
with supplies being shipped. So supplies are expected to be shipped by mid-March. And the work, it takes roughly a month and a half. But we're giving it until June. So we expect that both rooms should be totally completed by June.
just out of curiosity, will any of the Sono branch refresh be involved in having to take it down if the second part of the project in Sono gets approved?
No, because that was completed already.
Right, but I didn't know whether the next phase was going to impact that or not.
The next phase is the first floor. Any other questions?
Okay, good.
So, okay. And the laptop dispenser, We're looking, the 2 laptops for both libraries, we're looking at May. Lori Iflin, our technology director, is currently working with the city's IT department on the ordering and the licensing. So we're pretty excited about that. The IT, they've come by to look at, the areas where the laptops can go. So so just the ordering of the laptops and the licensing is what we're waiting on.
And just refresh my recollection, these are going to be Microsoft Windows and not Apple?
Not Apple, correct. But in our IT request, we are planning to get the Mac computers.
Good. Okay. Any questions? Great.
So the room bookings, well, right now we pretty much have the tax people in, but aside from the tax, and that's been pretty busy, but aside from the tax folks and their bookings, we have roughly maybe 3 per month at the main, and recently it's 4 because we have another group that's coming in that's working with the community children. So it's 4 per month at Sono.
Okay. Questions? How long does the tax, does it stop April 15th or do they go on
Yep,
for people who have
no,
extended?
they stop April 15th. They're available. There's just such nice people, but they're available. If anybody calls, they have an issue afterward, but they're not in the library. But we have a number, if people call us, that we can give them to call them.
Good.
Is there an extension because of COVID this year or not?
They haven't mentioned it
Yeah,
to me.
I haven't
It
seen
may
any.
come up later.
Mm.
Yeah, but they
If
haven't
if
mentioned
it if it was extended, would they be amenable to go with the extension?
The issue is, and part of the reason why, we're pushed out for the multi-purpose rooms, as soon as they're done, we're
Okay.
we need
Yeah.
that time.
And to clean it
those
up and
rooms,
do the work,
yeah.
okay.
But it's not to say we can't, if they're amenable to it, putting them in a smaller room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of any chat at Hartford or Washington about an extension.
No.
So I'm going to start mine in 2 weeks. So here comes the old TurboTax.
Oh.
Help. Okay.
All right, so Find Free going very well. I may have had 1 email and maybe a few phone calls, but everyone was fine. Once they learned that we're not just giving away books, that, if somebody loses a book, they do have to pay for it. Everybody's been fine, but people have been so appreciative. So I'm really happy that we did this. And I put in a request that we are listed on the Find Free map, and Norwalk is on the map. That was included in the package, but I'm sorry, I couldn't scan it, but we are definitely on the map.
Great.
Great.
Yeah, I
Thank
was
you.
excited, and it's the map for United States and Canada. And it seems like most of the libraries that have gone Find Free are on the East Coast.
There was one nasty comment on Nancy on Norwalk. So it's
Yeah.
everybody has a view, I guess.
Of course, of course, of course. So
Okay.
luckily it was just one. It was luckily,
Yep. Yep.
And as far as our health and safety, last month I reported that there were 6 COVID cases at the main. There were an additional 2 at the main, but I'm happy to report that everyone's back to work and healthy. And some were asymptomatic, but certainly, some did have symptoms, but everybody's back to work.
Is there anything you can say about the city's policy regarding employee vaccination? Is that still in effect?
So the people who are not vaccinated have to take tests weekly.
And is that happening?
we can't, for confidentiality, that would have to go through personnel.
Okay.
Like I can't, even ask people if they're, most
I
people
understand.
volunteer it, but we can't
Yeah.
just, yeah.
Yeah.
From my understanding, it is. I haven't heard anything, to believe otherwise.
Okay. All righty.
so-
Thank you. Anything else, Sherelle?
Nope, that was it.
Thank you. Okay. I'm not aware of any old business people want to bring out. Any new business people like to bring up? If not, then
I just want to tell you,
Sherelle, I'm sorry.
everybody, I just want to tell everybody, check your email. I just sent you the bylaws. And I highlighted the section for you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to, Sherelle, like with like whatever Norwalk decides to do in the coming months, just thinking ahead, are you kind of thinking about like a plan moving for, are you just kind of thinking about different scenarios about how to bring people back to the library when and if like we get, restrictions kind of get
Balloons, we can put up a whole bunch of balloons from the roof.
Well, I don't know. I'm just wondering what kind of thoughts you
No,
have.
I think, the staff are like wonderful with having their pulse on what people want. It'll just depend. Like, some people just, we don't know. So, that's why we're doing the survey. And to the point of your email, it should go out on Monday. So, we'll learn how people want to, instead of guessing, we'll learn how they want to use the library. And I believe both Cindy and Vicky, have a pulse on the community, making things fun. Cindy has a wealth of programs, and Vicky's really good with, with having kids herself, very good with, what kids want. And so like outdoor programs will be phenomenal. Like what happened with the Halloween program. Perhaps we can start the concert series again. Alex just mentioned some of the great things that are going on. So, people are not necessarily, they haven't necessarily stopped using the library. They're just that, and not even new. There's some, library users we don't even see because they do everything. They download their books, they don't necessarily come into the physical space, but they use the digital space.
Yeah.
So
when the time is right, we want them to be back,
Oh, definitely.
Right.
Especially when we get our new digs, our brand new library.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, any other comments? If not, then this afternoon, Sherelle sent out the link for the foundation meeting, which is going to occur instantaneously. And we're going to begin by having Lori come talk about our investments and any change in policy that we want to recommend to her. And then we'll get into the foundation regular business. So instead of looking at the old continuous Zoom connection, look for the one that came out at about 5 o'clock, Sherelle?
Yep, sometime between 5 and 5:30.
Yeah, okay,
And I did that purposely so it'll be bubbled up on your list.
right,
on your email list.
That's very helpful.
good. It had Ralph Bloom's name all over it.
All over.
Okay.
it.
Thank you.
Okay,
We'll see you
I
over
move
there.
for adjournment.
okay, Patsy moves to adjourn. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, then we're adjourned and see you in 3 minutes.
Oh, no
Thank you.
pressure.
Aye.
Bye-bye.